Listen closely. You ever wonder why shelves go empty overnight? Not over weeks, not over months, overnight. Gone. Just like that. It's not a coincidence. It's not just panic buying. It's because there are things they don't want you to notice. Items they quietly move to the back, lock behind doors, or simply stop restocking altogether. Why? Because when a collapse is coming, real emergency gear becomes power, and if you had access to those items, you wouldn't panic, you wouldn't beg, you'd survive. But they can't sell survival. So instead they sell distractions and hide the tools that actually make the difference. I'm going to show you 11 emergency survival items stores will either quietly pull or never restock when collapse gets close. Not the viral, overhyped prepper junk. Not the stuff influencers keep showing off for views. This is the gear that gives you real-world control. The kind of tools that matter when things stop working, when trucks stop moving, systems crash, and your neighbors start getting desperate. After each item, I'll give you my honest take why I carry it, how it changes the game, and what it trades for when the grid's gone. But I want your take too. Would you pack it or pass? Because in the end, it's not about what I know. It's about what you're willing to do before it's too late. If you're the type who doesn't wait for headlines to tell you what your gut already knows, hit that subscribe button now, because this isn't entertainment. This is survival intel, and trust me, the ones who prepare early don't beg later. Number 1. Cotton pillowcases. Most people toss them in a drawer, never thinking twice. But when collapse hits, cotton pillowcases stop being bedding and start being one of the most versatile survival tools in your entire house. Here's why. They're soft but strong, breathable but dense, and made of 100% natural fiber, which means they filter, carry, wrap, and absorb without falling apart. When clean water becomes currency, a pillowcase becomes your first layer filter. You stretch it over a bucket or bottle, and pour dirty water through it catches the big debris, bugs, leaves, sand, grit. That doesn't purify it, but it absolutely pre-cleans it before you boil or disinfect. And in survival, every step matters. They're also perfect for makeshift medical wraps. Got a wound? Cut a strip. Need to sling a busted arm? Tie one off. No gauze? Fold and layer. A clean pillowcase can become an improvised tourniquet, a dressing bandage, or even a forehead compress for fever. Need a bag? Tie the open end. Need shade? Cut and hang. Need silence on rough gear? Wrap it. There's almost nothing it can't adapt to. Stores don't talk about this. They sell survival cloths and overpriced filters, but when supply chains crash, pillowcases get swept up fast. Why? Because the smart ones know they're multi-use, washable, and quietly effective. And once everyone catches on, they vanish overnight. Personally, I keep 3 spares vacuum-sealed in my secondary cache. 1 for filtration, 1 for medical use, 1 for barter. I've traded pillowcases in the field for batteries and canned food because to someone hurting or dehydrated, this simple square of cotton feels like a miracle. Ask yourself, when water turns brown, when med kits run dry, when you need a bag, a wrap, or a shield, what's your plan? Because the guy with the pillowcase isn't improvising. He's already moving. Number 2, toothpaste. You think it's just for brushing teeth? That's what they want you to believe. But when everything collapses, that tiny tube becomes one of the most overlooked survival tools in your entire house. Toothpaste, especially the kind with baking soda and fluoride, does far more than clean your mouth. It soothes minor burns, calms itchy bug bites, and even clears up skin infections when your first aid kit runs dry. A pea-sized amount applied to a small burn or sting can give instant relief that's more than comfort. That's control in chaos. Out in the field, toothpaste can be used as a polishing agent for metal, a defogger for glass and mirrors, and even a deodorizer for hands after handling fish, fuel, or waste. Most people toss it in the hygiene bin, but smart preppers vacuum seal extras because it's light, shelf-stable, and trades like gold when sanitation collapses. And let's be real, hygiene becomes a morale weapon. Brushing your teeth after 4 days of grime? It resets your brain. It gives you a sliver of normalcy when the world turns savage. So while stores fill shelves with flashy prepper gear, they understock the basics. And once collapse begins, toothpaste disappears faster than food. Prep smart. Stock what they won't. The guy with minty breath? He's thinking way ahead. Number 3. Disposable aluminum baking trays. Most people see them as cheap party pans, single-use, flimsy, and forgettable. But in a collapse, these aluminum trays flip into one of the most practical, multi-use survival tools you can pull from your kitchen cabinet. They're light, stackable, heat-conductive, and they don't rust, rot, or attract pests. That alone makes them valuable, but the real power is in their versatility. First, cooking. These trays become impromptu pots, roasting pans, or fire-safe meal holders when cookware runs short. Toss one into a makeshift oven, or over hot coals, dinner's ready without cleanup. But that's just scratching the surface. They're perfect for catching and containing water. Use them under leaky roofs, tarp edges, or condensation drips. You'd be shocked how fast a half-inch of rain builds up in a flat tray, and when water is scarce, every drop counts. Signal mirror? Flatten one and flash it. Wind block? Fold and plant it. Improvised reflector? Aim it behind candles or fires, triple your light. Need a lid, heat shield, or emergency insulator? Mold it to shape. I've used them to sterilize gear in the field, carry char cloth from a fire, and even as makeshift containers for barter bundles. And when you're done, wipe and reuse, or crush it flat and stash it. Stores rarely restock these in volume, especially once panic buying begins. They're bulky, cheap, and low margin, which means they quietly disappear while everyone else is hoarding food. Me? I've got 10 nested in a plastic bin, vacuum sealed tight. No one notices them until they're desperate. Ask yourself, in a world without dishes, without gear, without time, what are you cooking on? Because the guy with the tray isn't improvising. He's feeding people while others starve. Number 4, scent-free bar soap, solid, multi-pack. People don't panic over soap. Not at first. But when collapse hits and water gets scarce, disease spreads fast, and hygiene turns into a battlefield. That's when the quiet value of scent-free bar soap skyrockets. Forget the lavender-scented liquid gels and plastic bottle junk. I'm talking about solid, unscented, utility-grade soap, the kind you can use for everything from hand washing to field sanitation without drawing attention or wasting volume. Scent-free is key. In a survival scenario, smell travels. If you're trying to stay hidden from people, animals, or worse, the last thing you need is a vanilla cloud trailing behind you. Unscented soap lets you stay clean without broadcasting your location. Let's talk about use cases. It's not just about washing your hands. It cleans wounds. It scrubs pots. It washes clothes in a creek. It lathers on a dry rag when water's limited. You can shave with it, treat minor skin issues, and even use it to decontaminate gear. 1 bar, multiple rolls. During disasters, soap vanishes early but quietly. Stores don't stockpile it like food or water. And when it's gone, people overlook it until rashes, infections, and odor become liabilities. I've watched people trade canned meat for half a bar of soap just to feel clean and human again. Personally, I stock bulk multi-packs. Sealed. No paper wrap. No artificial scent. 1 in every bag, 1 per cache, and if needed, 1 for barter. Because when hygiene falls apart, trust me, a clean hand and a clean face becomes power. Ask yourself, how long can you go before you feel the grime crawling on your skin? Because of the collapse, the guy with the soap doesn't just survive, he commands the room. Number 5, broom handles or mop rods, wooden or metal. Collapse doesn't care about how tactical your gear looks. When things fall apart, it's not about looking prepared, it's about using what works. And one of the most underestimated tools sitting in nearly every home right now? Your old broom handle or mop rod? Sounds ridiculous? Think again. These rods are lightweight, sturdy, and already sized for hand carrying. Which means in a world where systems fail and supply chains snap, these cleaning tools become multi-purpose survival equipment. Let's break it down. A wooden handle? That's a weapon, plain and simple. It can be cut, sharpened, reinforced, or modified into a spear, a club, or a pole for pushing or defense. You don't need fancy carbon fiber gear when a solid hardwood rod can stop someone from rushing your shelter. Metal ones? Even better. They can be used to hold up tarps, support shelters, fish gear out of tight spaces, or stir hot fires from a safe distance. Need a walking stick when your knee gives out on day 5 of bugging out? You already have it. During collapses, stores clear out essentials. But rods like these? They're buried in the cleaning section, and nobody's looking there. Until they need one. Personally, I don't toss old broomsticks. I repurpose them. I've got one cut and packed into my vehicle kit, one lashed to a rain catch system, and one duct taped with a flashlight mount for night patrols. Tactical enough? More than most people are thinking. Here's a question for you. If things go sideways and you're forced to improvise, how much of your house turns into survival gear? Because the guy who sees a mop handle as a tent pole won't freeze in the rain, while others complain they weren't ready. Number 6. Plastic buckets with lids. 3 5-gallon, any brand. They sit in garages, under sinks, or out in the shed ignored, until someone needs to mop or store birdseed. But when the collapse hits, that humble plastic bucket becomes one of the most powerful tools in your survival setup. Think about it: durable, waterproof, portable, sealable. That's 4 survival functions in one item you already have. Let's talk about real-world use. First, water collection. Buckets are perfect for catching rain off tarps, gutters, or runoff. You can store, carry, and even treat water in them. Add a lid, you've got a sealed container that protects against bugs, debris, and cross-contamination. Need to carry gear? Done. Need to dig or haul dirt, waste, food, or firewood? Done. Need a toilet? Yep, line it with a trash bag and you've got an emergency sanitation setup that'll save you from illness and stench when plumbing dies. In field conditions, I've seen buckets used as cooking seats, tool holders, field sinks, and barter bundles. I once traded 2 food-grade buckets for a gallon of treated water and a pack of painkillers because the guy I traded with had nowhere to store what he'd scavenged. Here's the kicker: stores stock these year-round, but they move fast in disaster prep. And when things get real, people aren't thinking buckets. They're thinking about food. So by the time they realize they can't carry or store anything, it's already too late. Me? I stack them, seal them, label them, and hide spares in outbuildings. Because when collapse happens, your problem isn't just what you have, it's how you carry it. The guy with the bucket? He's not improvising. He's in motion while others are stuck holding scraps. Listen closely, because this might be the last calm moment you get. When society breaks, no one's rushing to trade gold. No one's offering silver for safety. They're hunting for what works, what keeps their blood clean, their bodies warm, and their minds sharp. That's the brutal truth no one wants to say out loud. In collapse, value flips and the smartest preppers, they're not hoarding treasure. They're locking down items that turn into survival currency when the grid dies for good. You think gold will buy you food? Wait till the guy across the fire has a can opener and you don't. Most people still think collapse means chaos in one night. They imagine alarms, riots, and everything falling apart at once. But that's not how it happens. It unravels, slowly. Bit by bit, comfort dies, and need takes its place. And the things people never cared about yesterday become priceless overnight. That's what this list is. 7 products that look average today, but when systems fall, they'll outrank gold, cash, and crypto. I'm not just naming gear. I'll tell you how I'd use it, why it matters, and then I want your take. Because the folks who laugh at this now, they'll be the ones trading watches for wet wipes when it's too late to think. Number 8. Glass jars with lids, repurposed or canning type. You probably toss them after finishing pickles, pasta sauce, or jam. But when the collapse hits, glass jars become survival-grade containers, and you'll wish you had more. First off, they're airtight. That alone makes them gold in a world where spoilage, pests, and contamination become daily threats. You're storing rice, jerky, dry meds, seeds? A glass jar with a tight lid keeps it safe, dry, and visible, and the visibility matters. You can see how much is left, if anything's gone bad, or if insects snuck in, no guessing, no surprises. Beyond food, they're perfect for field chemistry and first aid. Mix disinfectants, soak gauze, pre-mix vinegar solutions, or water treatments. They're heat-resistant enough for hot liquids and stable enough for pressure if you're into home canning. I've used them for storing char cloth, holding fire starters, even caching spare lighters in a hidden stash. Here's the kicker: they're silent. Unlike plastic, which crinkles or warps in heat, glass stays solid. Sterilize it once, and it's good to go for decades. You're not just storing supplies, you're creating field stability. Stores don't sell empty jars in bulk, and during crises, you'll see the canning section wiped clean. Most people ignore used jars until they need a way to protect the last of their meds or food from rot. Personally, I save every decent glass jar that comes into my house. Clean, boil, dry, Store. Some go in the pantry, others in my barter box. I once traded a mason jar full of salt for a power bank because the guy didn't care about the salt, he wanted the jar. So ask yourself, when your food's exposed and the world's full of bugs and moisture, what's your plan? Because the guy with the jars? He's sealing in security while others rot. Number 9. Rubber dish gloves. Heavy duty, reusable. You've probably got a pair under the kitchen sink, but in a collapse, those thick rubber gloves become a line of defense between you and everything trying to infect, poison, or weaken you. Let's start with the basics. Sanitation breaks down during any collapse. Trash piles up, sewers backflow, water gets dirty, and you still have to handle it. Bare hands? That's a fast track to infection. Rubber gloves? You're protected not just from grime, but from pathogens that turn small wounds into life-threatening problems. Now think bigger. Need to clean a wound with bleach? Scrub gear soaked in fuel? Sort through spoiled food or biological waste? Gloves aren't optional, they're armor. And when they're reusable, you don't burn through your limited stash in the first week. I've used mine for cleaning water tanks, stripping wire in the rain, even collecting wild plants without getting oil or irritants on my skin. And when it's freezing, they work as a windproof barrier under cloth gloves. Stores don't push these as prepper gear. They're hidden in cleaning aisles, unsexy, ignored. But during any biological threat or disaster, they vanish. Fast, because those who understand collapse know hand protection is survival. I keep 3 pairs, one in the house, one in my bug-out bag, and one in barter stock. Vacuum sealed, folded flat. I've traded them before, and trust me, they move faster than batteries when people realize what they're touching. So ask yourself, when the world turns toxic, what's keeping you safe? Because the guy with the gloves? He's not panicking. He's working while others fear what they touch. Number 10. Duct tape. Let's stop pretending this is just for patching up boxes. In a collapse, duct tape becomes a survival toolkit in a roll, one of the most adaptable, underappreciated, and overused items you'll wish you had more of. You break a pack strap? Duct tape. Your tarp rips mid-storm? Duct tape. Need to seal a window, build a sling, block off a vent, or insulate your boots from frostbite? You guessed it, duct tape. Now here's the twist. Not all duct tape is created equal. That dollar store roll in your junk drawer? It'll disintegrate in the rain and leave you stranded. But industrial-grade tape, waterproof, tear-resistant, long fiber core, that stuff turns into a tactical asset. In my kits, it wraps around water bottles, lighters, poles, any cylindrical gear that saves space. I've used it to seal food containers, reinforce knife handles, secure ammo boxes, even make a quick strap-on splint for someone's twisted ankle in the field. Let's not forget psychological warfare. In collapse zones, duct tape seals doors and traps, binds noise-making tripwire setups, and secures documents or ID to gear. I've seen barter deals shift because someone offered a full roll. Why? Because even untrained civilians know when systems fail, improvisation wins. And duct tape is improvisation made physical. Stores never stock deep. It's bulky, high theft, and low margin. When panic hits, those shelves are empty in hours. And once it's gone, it's gone. I stock 12 rolls, minimum, sealed, labeled, color-coded. Because I'm not taping holes. I'm building control. Ask yourself, when your gear fails or your shelter starts leaking, what do you reach for? Because the guy with the duct tape? He doesn't panic. He patches, seals, and keeps moving. Number 11. Toothbrushes. Manual, multi-pack, unused. Sounds basic, right? Just a toothbrush. But in a world where sanitation collapses and medical access disappears, that little plastic brush becomes a line between health and infection. When food gets scarce and hygiene drops, your mouth turns into a hotspot for bacteria. Infections that start in the gums can enter your bloodstream. One abscessed tooth in a collapse could be the thing that takes you down. Think that's an exaggeration? Ask any field medic how fast a mouth wound gets dangerous when antibiotics are gone. Manual toothbrushes don't need batteries, don't break, and don't rely on toothpaste to work. Even dry brushing clears plaque and reduces bacterial load. And it's not just about hygiene, it's morale. Brushing your teeth in a filthy world resets your mindset. It makes you feel human when everything else screams collapse. And here's the strategic angle. They're light, cheap, and barterable. I've traded sealed toothbrushes for food, meds, even a knife once because in long-term scenarios, People don't prep for hygiene until it's gone. Stores rarely overstock them, and once they're gone, good luck finding one outside a black market med bag. I stash full 6-packs in every major kit and wrap each brush individually in foil or plastic to keep them sterile. Ask yourself, how long could you go without brushing your teeth with no dentist, no meds, no second chance? Because the guy with clean teeth? He's not just surviving, he's preventing the next disaster before it starts. You've seen the list. Not flashy, not viral, not what the average YouTuber would hype. But if you were paying attention, every item on this list was chosen for one reason. It keeps you alive when the lights go out and no one's coming to help. These aren't things you'll find in a trending gear video or packed in a tactical box with a logo. These are what real survivors use, what smart preppers stock quietly, while the rest scroll and stall. And when the collapse comes, not if, when you'll look around and see empty shelves, blacked out streets, and people realizing too late that comfort is gone and only function remains. That's why this channel doesn't waste your time. We don't do hype. Hit that subscribe button right now, because you're not watching this for fun. You're watching this because somewhere deep down, you know what's coming. And when it does, you'll want to be the one who saw it first, not the one begging for scraps after it's too late.